All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to game number 2 of the Dota 2 Professional League Group Stages series of FTD.A Club A, rather FTD Club A versus Wings. Wings took a pretty convincing game 1 with a cheeky drow strat, and they're starting things off with a Ricky. So no holds barred here. I'm going to be your hypecaster, Annie, and I'm being joined once again by Mad Kings. What's up, kid?
I mean, that's pretty much just a change from the game one. I mean, the Ricky getting picked up and expanded in the first series from Wayne's gaming in the last series, and obviously going for the lifesteal ban instead. Just taking away the comfort zone of the FTD Club A, especially when you're a team like Wayne's who can play pretty much anything. Then going in and banning the comfort heroes of the enemy team is always a go to thing that's always going to be pretty valuable. And FTD Club A, they're going for something different themselves actually as they pick up Faces Void up together with the Spirit Breaker, a very aggressive hero roaming wise.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really aggressive lineup so far. Do you think we're going to see Spearbreaker as a 4 and Void as an offlane, or Spearbreaker as an offlane and Void as a 1?
I imagine it is going to be the Spirit Breaker roaming type because it's one of those like heroes you can pick up mostly when you see either Bounty Hunter or Ricky. Then the Spirit Breaker can be a little bit annoying against us in this series since you can charge him across the map and then catch him off guard, which is always going to be very good. In the meantime, though, I expect Wings to go for something like the Darkseid pickup because the synergy between Ricky and Darkseid, like pressuring the safe lane of the enemy team, is so huge. But for now, they're going to pick up a DP, obviously, a good mid hero. Does value from having a Ricky to roam in and try and give you some space and time, as well as just being an overall very powerful hero in many ways. Gives you objective gaming things, gives you a lot of damage with the exorcism in the team fights. So, strong hero.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is going to quite dominate the laning phase. And, we're going to see if Ricky wants to go for pretty hard support. I mean, we've seen it happen before where Ricky kind of stays in that position 4-ish roaming position the whole game, but he can also transition to a semi-carry quite early on depending on the momentum of the game. So do you think Wings can get enough going for them early on to have Ricky build up a nice early diffusal, or will he be stuck as a discount bounty hunter for the first 40 minutes?
That kind of depends on the heroes they pick up. Like I said, I mean, if they picked up something like the Darkseid, that is one of the best heroes to be able to amplify the aggressiveness of the Ricky in the early game because of the Iron Shell. Obviously, you can get a lot of pickoffs early, and if Ricky gets a lot of kills, a lot of pickoffs, assists in a lot of kills, then he is going to be able to get those early like aggressive items, which just further amplifies how many kills he's going to be able to get. Whereas if he doesn't get that, then he's going to be in that, like you said, the discount bounty hunter. Not having too much to offer to the team apart from his smoke screens and the occasional couple of hits.
And a courier pickoff potential, don't forget that. If you have a greedy mid, a mid like a Storm Spirit that constantly needs to bottle Crow, you're really going to have to rely on knowing where that Ricky is at all times.
Yeah, that's also true, definitely. In the meantime, we do see the Oracle as well as the Vengeful Spirit getting banned out from the side of FTD Club A. I love that actually. The Oracle, obviously the best pair in terms of being a support together with the DP. The Vengeful Spirit is because you have a Faceless Void picked up, so the Vengeful Spirit is probably the best defensive support against Chronos to be able to swap people out of harm's way. So, FTD Club A just trying to secure that these two heroes are going to be able to do a lot.
Absolutely here. And, I'm looking to see what Wings Gaming want to do if they want a Death Ball here, because they probably could do it. You've got a Ricky, which can offer a nice smoke screen, so AoE fights are going to favor Wings, and they've got the Death Prophet with crazy push. We'll see if they go for something like an Enchantress, or a Bane, or a Clinks, or other very early scaling heroes.
And they are a team that is known to be able to go for some of those, like the Enchanters, the roaming heroes. If they were to go for that, obviously there would be a lot of pressure being put in all of the enemy's lanes, and then they would be having to go for a very safe lane farmer like a Slaughter perhaps, who doesn't need any help in the lane to be able to sustain. They could do that easily though, pull it off, because when you get to faces Void when for example the heroes like Lifesteals by now, you don't have any defensive supports like the Vengeful, then having a safe lane carry who needs to be able to do like the classic right clicker might not be the best way to go because the faceless one is always going to be able to just chrono you and yet then you can't really do your right click thing. And first things first, they're going to pick up the clockwork, another stun here, a lot of control you can use from this hero. It's pretty good against the Spirit Breaker, especially because you can hookshot into him when he tries to do some charges. You can use the cock to be able to zone him out when he does some charges, and pretty much the same thing for the Faceless Void as well.
You know, I'm actually not too much of a Clockwork fan here. Clockwork is one of those heroes that really struggles in lane. You know, you're surprised if he hits 6 before minute 10. He usually dies a couple times, usually starves in terms of farm. So either Wings have to win all their other lanes in a spectacular fashion, or keep the Ricky nearby to help him out, because I think you kind of have to sack the offlane if you pick a Clockwork up, and that allows FTD to go for a very greedy carry that needs a lot of farm and won't be pressured early on, like a Spectre or an Anti-Mage or a Juggernaut even, and I think revealing the Clockwork this early on might be a mistake.
It could be biting him in the ass, but so far I actually think FTD Club A is going to be opting to go for the potentially the Faceless Void actually as a safe lane carry. Could be doing a lot of work. It could also just be sitting it in the offlane if they feel like it's going to be a little bit too hard. But you know you're against a Ricky, so you know that Wings Gaming is going to be looking to try and disrupt your lane. So going for the Faceless Void safe lane means that they're not really going to be gankable, because the Faceless Void obviously he's not that easy to kill, especially if he has supports behind him. So picking up another offlane potentially, or sending the Spirit Breakers to the offlane like you suggested in the start. They have a lot of options to be able to work with these four heroes so far. And Wings Gaming now picking up a Warlock. That's interesting. So that is gonna be potentially even the safe lane carry, honestly.
Um, I'm tempted to say it's gonna be a hard 5. I mean, I really don't know. We also could have the Death Prophet safe and run a mid Warlock, but we're getting kind of crazy here. You know, what are Wings concocting up? Are they gonna go have this full ulti lineup where you've got the Exorcism rolling and you pop down the stone golems and everything gets really, really ugly for FTD Club A and they can't fight into that AoE?
I mean, honestly, if you wanted the Warlock as a position 5, this is where I'm kind of like thinking it should be a position 1. Or like you said, in a mid position, because like if you want the Warlock as a position 5, you have better heroes who can both do the pushing as well as having stuns available, for example, like the Shadow Shaman that's still in the pool. So that's why I kind of don't expect them to do that, because it just feels like there's a better option than the Warlock if you want him to be a hard 5. And he isn't really the best hard 5. I mean, apart from, you know, giving a little bit of healing, some slows, and obviously when he is level 6, the Golem is going to be an amazing tool, but like I said, I mean, the Shadow Shaman's ward can pretty much do exactly the same thing. So I kind of expect him to be running this as an aggressive hero, but I may be denied. You never know.
I mean, I'm not even sure Wings know what they're doing here. I think they're just kind of tossing out some interesting heroes and seeing what they do, because Wings are seated very highly in this tournament so far. They went, I believe, undefeated for a little bit, so they're having some fun here. They're trying out some new stuff. I mean, obviously not scrimming, but interesting strats that might not be so meta, and FTD might not know what to do with them. I mean, they're picking a very reliable lineup. You've got the Faceless Void Witch Doctor combo, you've got the Invoker to follow up with teamfight damage, Spirit Breaker as an initiator, so FTD, they're playing by the books, and Wings, I mean, they just threw the rulebook right out the window.
Yeah, and that was it. It is actually going to be me getting the Warlock. It's going to be the hard 5. Obviously, does give some healing powers, has that nice ultimate. The Untouchable is, no, the, what's it called? The Fatal Bonds, that's the thing. It's going to be able to do some damage if he does value scaling it up early. But the Warlock is a very, very level dependent hero, so I'm going to be surprised to see if Wings Gaming can actually give him the space he needs as that hard 5, as the Ricky is going to be roaming around. So Warlock obviously being the solo support together with the Morphling in the safe lane. I don't know, man. I don't know how this draft is actually going to pan out. This is something I've seen too much before, so I will see it in action before I really know what to expect from it. The Morphling obviously being a very powerful hero. I actually think that the Morphling option up against the Faceless Void is probably one of the better ways to go, because you can use the Morph Strength in the Chronosphere, so it is probably one of the easiest heroes to pull off, and not having to worry too much about getting initiated on, getting chronoed, and getting killed.
All right, so last pick here for FTD Club A. They're gonna stick with the books. They're gonna go for, okay. Would you believe me if I said I was gonna say Juggernaut? Because I think early game he does combo well with the Witch Doctor, and then obviously late game he just brings in the damage.
I don't know if I would believe you.
I promise. I mean, he's just such a reliable core. I mean, you grab him when you can. He's good early. He's good mid. He scales all right late. I mean, I don't think FTDA want to take this like 70 minutes, but I think he can hold out late if they get the right farm on him.
I mean, he is pretty much a hero that is going to be, like you said, further amplify their early game aggression, which is something they tried to pull off in the last game as well. So I guess they're going to be going aggressive again. It is a good hero against the Clockwork in the lane. Obviously, the spin pretty much denies all of the damage coming up from the Clockwork. giving him a hard time. It's good against the DP because the way you want to deal with the DP is bursting him down as easy as possible, as quick as possible. It doesn't deal well with the Morphling overall because like all of the spells the Juggernaut has to be able to do damage, the Morphling can easily dodge. So that is one thing that it's not too amazing for. But obviously, if you have enough farm compared to the Morphling, you don't have to do too much to be able to deal with him. And obviously Chronosphere and all of the other heroes like the Invoker being an amazing late game skiller, you don't have to be the only one doing damage, you just have to deal with some of the heroes.
Alright, so there's going to be the Riki here, scouting things out, getting some vision going down. The rest of the Radiant are playing quite safe. It looks like they want to go for this top rune. They want to get cheeky with the Riki, but they gotta know that Invoker has some sort of vision. He's going to pop down a sentry, or at least hold it at his ready. Gonna go through. There's gonna be some dewarding potential there. Riki not gonna go and take it out just yet because they don't want to know there's a ward now. Though meanwhile, we are gonna have the cogs coming in as Invoker is able to grab the bounty rune. There's gonna be a charge here onto Faith Beyond the cogs, slightly off the mark. It looks like he may end up paying with his life. The Riki goes in trying to make some space, trying to distract the Invoker, and it might be successful here as Faith Beyond will end up getting away. Cookie Bear does have the charge left in 2 seconds. Does he want to dive deep for this one? As Innocence, he's still sitting there, but they don't have any more vision on him. It's gonna be a big engage, but no blood. Oh, the courier snipe could be there from the Riki. Looks like he's going to be wrapping around. He's going to be late for the way there, but will he be able to catch it back on the way home? We'll see if they path it interestingly. This could be it. Oh, it's going to be going around the tree line. Does it go all the way around the secret shop? It looks like it might. But Riki, he's going to try to catch it up. It's got no speed boost. Innocence is going to back off, puts that nice observer ward down, but will miss the courier coming back on through. Meanwhile, down bottom, we are going to have M getting quite low, has that time walk, but again, the slow, steady tick damage of that shadow word will continue to do damage even after he walks it off.
Yeah, it seems like the Warlock is actually working pretty well against the face as well. Like you said, the shadow word is going to take damage over time, so you can't really get the biggest value time walk off in your life, and the Spirit Breaker being here, just trying to buy him some space. Obviously the Spirit Breaker needs level 2 before he can be like a full-on amazing roam, because I mean the charge is good, but you need the bash on top of that.
Up top, Witch Doctor with one final right click. The extent of his palm was able to connect, and they do get the kill on the Clockwork, like we talked about. You know, Clockwork is gonna feed deaths, you gotta expect that, so you just gotta dominate the other lanes, and you know, so far it's actually not too much of a crap show. We are going to have the Morphling getting some decent farm here, sitting at the top of the net worth, or rather the last hit shard, but we're a minute and a half into the game. We're going to have to see how this pans out, because honestly, Wings need to win this bottom lane. They need to have a very nice showing mid in order to keep themselves in this.
Yeah, the Clockwork is going to have a very, very hard time in the lane, because obviously the spin, once the spin goes from the Juggernaut, if you get a hold of him, if you don't get cog blocked, well, the power cogs blocked, yeah, words, guys. Either way, but that's pretty much the only way he can survive in the lane, obviously, so.
Down bottom, we are going to have Shadow getting harassed back. The Void actually getting a ton of farm in this off lane. Usually the Void can be harassed back, but Ice on the Warlock, rather, isn't the most aggressive support in the world. He can go through, cast that Fatal Bonds, but can't really do a whole lot in terms of slow, steady damage that doesn't completely deplete his mana pool.
He also just, I think he's been using a couple of clarity so far as well. He has one more clarity available. It is a very mana-intensive hero, so whenever he wants to do some damage with Faceless Void, it is going to be costly, like you said. And the Faceless Void, he is still getting levels in the lane. He's getting a couple of blasts his way as well. So he's been doing pretty well. I mean, if you compare him to the Clockwork, he's doing fantastically. As the Clockwork has a death to his name, almost level 3, which is actually okay for the Clockwork in terms of levels, but that is with the Riki being there trying to support him and buying him some space and time.
Alright, now mid lane, we are going to have a gank here. Death Prophet ends up getting beat-bopped up. She had the Spirit Siphon go and the Rocket Flare, not enough to finish off Shade. So it looks like Death Prophet will lose this lane. Now FTD.A, they're having a really nice show in here. We're only 3 minutes in, but they've essentially won every single lane, or at least shown some domination potential. They've got 2 kills to their name, or Wings. They're seeming to starve. The Morphling's getting some good right clicks, but does that really matter when, you know, Clockwork's dropping, Death Prophet's dropping?
That is pretty much just one lane that I mean, they put in pressure in the offlane, which is all they have to do. The Faceless Void getting his farm. So like you said, they're pretty much like winning everything. Obviously the statement of the wing side is still getting the last hit, but when the offlane gets a lot of farm, that is pretty much a one lane considerably.
Oh, we are going to have a charge here. Faith Beyond in some trouble. No way to hookshot out of this. Tries to cogs, but ends up just trapping the damage closer to his body. Now Innocence looking to run away. Will have that invis taken hold. One more click. Will connect. Oh, the dust will hold through, but Innocence manages to live with a scrap of health. Not going to back off just yet, and no one on the Dire wants to punish that, so Riki will get away, but that's pretty costly now. 0-3. FTD.A, we talked about what they need to do differently, and I think they're getting it done. They picked a very reliable draft, and they're capitalizing on the fact that Wings, they're picking some quirky stuff and may not necessarily know how to execute it perfectly.
Yeah, and you never know when it's Wings. I mean, it is always one of those teams that tends to pick some very, very weird stuff. Maybe not something they've been running, but hey, it sounds nice, guys. So let's pick it up. Let's try it out. And right now, it's not working too well out for them. Overall, they're only having one reliable lane. They need to be giving some more time and space for deep in the mid lane, and that's what they're trying to do. As Shade will get that Ghost Walk away, and he's gonna be just fine, doubling up the Wex again this time around. It is actually something that most invokers don't do, getting that casual level 1 Wex to be able to have the Ghost Walk, but Shade, this is the second time we've seen him doing it in the last couple of series, so it does seem like he values having that defensive in this, just in case things go wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a big vision game here. I mean, you've got the Riki, which you constantly need to keep dusts up for. If anyone ends up going Shadow Blade or Glimmer Cape, you got to get that. And, you know, with Invoker showing that stride with Ghost Walk, it could be pretty tough here. Looks like Clockwork will end up dying to the Maledict charge, gets off a final Rocket Flare, buys out a TP before he goes down, but in the end, that's going to be Clockwork's third death of the game, and you expect to sacrifice your Clockwork a little bit, but at this point, he's just not doing so hot in lane. He's feeding a decent amount of kills to the Witch Doctor, feeding a decent amount of XP to his little lane buddy here, the Juggernaut. And, you know, Juggernaut's already level 5 here. Clockwork only level 4, so a full level ahead in a dual lane, which is not ideal.
Yeah, definitely. And in the meantime, the Faceless Void is almost level 6, so he's having a much, much better time. The Warlock is support compared to the Witch Doctor, also being a little bit behind. So overall, the FTD Club Ace lane is just working out, like you said. I mean, it's going well. Clockwork being a little bit scared there, and as the Juggernaut is rushing forward, he's going to be having his Omni Slash up very soon. So, and yet another thing that the Clockwork has to start worrying about.
Mid lane looks like they're posturing up for some sort of initiation here onto Shade, waiting until he goes up just a little bit too far for the creeps, but Shade, he's got a plan of his own. They've got the charge and the Death Prophet. This could get really bloody really fast. The Spirit Breaker is heading in. He goes and pops out that Alacrity. He's hitting hard, he's hitting fast, he's getting low. There's gonna be another Spirit Siphon charge, but can they turn this on the Death Prophet? She goes through, her health will drain. Now Innocence with one Blink Strike secures the kill on the Invoker, but looks like they might be able to trade. They bring in the Warlock going through, getting that Fatal Bonds out. So harassing back Cookie Bear, he's not gonna want to reinitiate onto this. And looks like the Riki will live. So overall, positive trade for Wings in this mid lane. That's their first kill of the game.
That's pretty funny coming up from both sides. Actually, they were both like waiting for the heroes to be setting up, because both the Riki as well as the Spirit Breaker were coming in, so they're both trying to bait each other. And in the end, there's going to be Wings winning that little bait wall as they get the kill on the Invoker. Doesn't do something.
All right. We've got, you know, Invoker once again heading head to head with the Death Prophet. In terms of farm, Death Prophet coming out a little bit ahead, and now that she has that kill, or rather that Invoker has that kill, it's feeling alright. There's gonna be another charge here onto the Death Prophet. She's got that Spirit Siphon if she gets it off in time, but it looks like she pops a Haste Rune and jukes out the charge. Now she's gonna be going through, gets that Spirit Siphon onto Cookie Bear, doing about half his health, but that's just kind of a harass back. That's a screw you, that's a getaway. It's not going to be a kill attempt. Now they bring in the rest of the heroes, though. They're smoked up. They don't have that Golem to drop, but they might have just enough there with the Silence here. They have a Blink Strike on the Shade if they need it. They're going to be going on through. Riki goes through. He pops a Dust, making sure they get the vision as he Ghost Walks away, and the Meatball drops with the final breath of life, and it will connect onto the Death Prophet, but she'll be A-okay as the Exorcism ends. She'll heal back up to full health.
Yeah, I was just waiting with the Exorcism use. He was actually showing that he was going to be able to pop against the Spirit Breaker. He was clicking the button for the Exorcism, but just held it back, waiting for the better rotation, waiting for the Invoker kill, and that's obviously going to be a good thing. In the meantime, though, in the top lane, once again, our little Clockwork buddy getting killed.
I mean,
that's the Omni Slash.
It's the reveal of the Omni Slash, which is pretty nice. There's going to be a big TP here. Faceless Void. I guess he's hunting for a Chrono here. He's got it at the ready. There's going to be a nice Maledict here. Riki blinks away, but will still end up falling. Oh, the Chrono committed. Now they've got Blink at the ready. Ice can't do much. They actually leave the Chrono. They got Blink on lockdown. There's going to be the Clockwork coming in. He does have the Cogs. We'll be locking in the Faceless Void, so at least buying some time here. They might be able to get the kill in the Void. He leaps away. He's fresh out of mana, but Shadow going in. Just with the waveform, ripping apart everyone. Double kill there. Looks like they could trade for the Death Prophet again, but she goes in the Soul Siphon. Now Cookie Bear sitting back, can't charge away for another 6 seconds, maybe trying to deny to Ancients, maybe just trying to scoot away with his life. He's got the charge on 3-second cooldown. Can they get the charge? Oh, they blink in, they get the Rocket Flare. Clockwork comes back with a vengeance. That's his first kill of the game, and much earned as he finally drives back that Space Cow.
Oh, that was well played by Wings, and I mean, honestly, is there ever time in a game where as a Morph lane, at 9 minutes into the game with one spell you get a double kill. I mean that waveform, that was big money from that waveform.
Absolutely. Here now, up top, we've got the Juggernaut. Again, he did debut that Omni just a couple moments ago, still on cooldown for about 30 seconds. He's got about 2k gold. Is he rushing like a Blink Dagger? What's he looking to do here? Oh, it's going to be a Battle Fury.
Well, like you said, so it isn't going to be anything too cheeky. It's just going to be the farming game, obviously, with the Preservance on top of that. It is just, you know, going for the Battle Fury, going for the farm game. He can, to an extent, keep ahead of the Morphling in terms of farming when he does get that Battle Fury up. So that is going to be his aim, just being ahead in net worth, having a little bit more stat items to deal with. The Morphling, when he does finally grab the initial items, obviously Morphling going to the Lincolns. And then after that, you know, Ethereal Blade always going to do a lot of damage. The Juggernaut isn't one of the best heroes to deal with that damage first, even though he can spin it if he times it perfectly. Then it's still going to be do some damage when he finally does land on the Jug. So he needs to be a little bit careful going into the mid/late game against the Morphling.
Alright, we've got Death Prophet here with that 2 null tallies, so it looks like she is going to go for the Veil, amplifying that magic damage. Not really a super typical Death Prophet item, but I guess she's not playing from super far ahead and wants to make sure all her team's magical damage really does work, because FTD.A, they are relatively squishy. Spare the Void, who has some decent armor to his name. Everyone else can be popped by the magical nuke from Wings.
Yeah, now Wings also pretty much gathering troops up in the top lane. They're giving space for the Warlock in the bottom lane to get his double 6. He's going to be able to grab it now. He's TPing into the team, and it looks like they're going to go for a committed push, having the Exorcism available, having the Golem available as well. So that's some team firepower right there.
Oh, there's gonna be a charge here. Death Prophet gets up the Exorcism, but it won't matter if she dies. There's gonna be a nice Golem drop connecting onto 3. Hook shot in from the Clockwork. Won't connect onto anyone to Cogs. Not gonna be keeping anyone safe. The Soul Siphon, though, keeping Death Prophet alive. Will eventually go down to the Omni Slash, but now Yin might be in a world of trouble. Nobody get out of this. He already spun, and looks like he will end up dropping. So it's gonna be a Death Prophet for Juggernaut so far. Looking for more, though. Shadow in the backlands will be able to take down the Witch Doctor, and they're looking for the tower as well, as everyone else has abandoned ship. The Void didn't opt to go first Chrono, instead just TPing out, playing this one safe, not wanting anything to do with the top fights, and now a tier 1 tower go in the way of Wings, on top of getting 2 picks.
Yeah, I mean, if it was honestly, if it was just a 1-for-1 trade, it would have been fine for FTD Club C because Club A actually, sorry, because they use a lot of these ultimates from the side of Wings, the very time heavy ultimates with the Warlock being a 2-minute cooldown, the Exorcism getting used as well. They got DP kill as the first thing happening. But then losing the Witch Doctor on top of that, losing the tower, obviously, it does give a little bit of value to the side of Wings, as they're gonna be okay with that.
That is the coolest looking Golem cosmetic I've ever seen. Anyway, over here we are gonna have Innocence playing a dangerous game here. Look at who's carrying Vision. You've got the Juggernaut, not carrying anything, but the Witch Doctor has sentries, Invoker, nothing, but, you know, Spirit Breaker's got it too, and those are very mobile supports, able to go in, TP in wherever they're needed, so you know, one opportune dust on the Ricky and you're in a world of trouble. But speaking of worlds of trouble, looks like Cookie Bear won't have any chance to pop out that dust as he just does get annihilated mid.
Yeah, that's a very quick call. They're gonna turn that into tier 2 push. As you know, FTD.A just not having enough people to
they've got the Chrono combined with the Death Ward there. They're going to go in. They will get the Chrono onto 1 here. It's only the Death Prophet. Now, she doesn't have the Exorcism on cooldown anyway. She's going to take a lot of damage, but on the backline, Shadow just laying into the Witch Doctor. Will stop that Death Ward at tracks, but oh, the Cold Snap. Shadow underneath the tower. Morphin Strength for all he's worth. Goes through. Oh, with that Adaptive Strike, will get a kill in the backlines. Ricky taking out a killing spree as well. It's going to be 3 dead. Only the Morphling does end up dropping, but only after we secure some blood. So, in the end, certainly something Wings will take, and it looks like they will get a tier 2 as well.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a weird decision from the Faces Squad actually going for the Chrono Sweep because they didn't have the follow-up damage. The Invoker wasn't in position to use the spells. He was focusing on the Morphling instead. The Juggernaut didn't have the Omni Slash off cooldown yet. It was on the 30-second cooldown when the Chrono Sweep came up. So they just didn't have enough damage to actually kill the DP in the Chrono Sweep. It was pretty much just, you know, the basic right clicks from the Faces Void, which is not a lot early game. I mean, he just tickles at this point. So a little bit for weird engagement, and they're not going to lead into them winning a fight. They're going to lose 3 people for 1. They do get the Morphling, which is going to be okay for them, but you know, still losing a fight. So Wings is going to be very satisfied with that, and now maybe losing Faces Ward as well.
Oh, they commit an ulti for it. They really wanted to make sure that silence lasted the whole duration, so he wasn't able to leap away. So I guess Ice gets his Golem. Maybe they can apply some push to this bottom lane, at least have the Golem alive for that, but that was a very costly kill. And Void's Chrono was down anyway. Don't know if they exactly needed to go for that.
And they just wanted to make sure, like you said, to get the Faceless Void kill as the silence was ending out. They didn't want him to be able to get the time walk away, and obviously being able to commit this into a push means that the Warlock's gold isn't wasted as much as it would otherwise.
Oh, they're all in for this. Witch Doctor, one waveform, one adaptive strike, sayonara. They're gonna bring in the Golem, taking up most of the wave. They pop the Exorcism too. There's no chance this tier 2 stands, and that's gonna be all but one tier 2 of the game. Now mid, there is going to be a counter push, but it's only on this tower. They're not going to get a whole lot done. In fact, Yin will end up taking damage from that Rocket Flare, as well as the Death Prophet Crypt Swarm. So it seems like Wings, they weren't given a lot of space in the laning phase, but they're definitely coming back in terms of push.
Yeah, they're getting so many objectives that way. They have now a 7.5k net worth lead. In a matter of like something like around 5 minutes, and now they're going to be looking to do. They only have the tier 2 talent on the top end to be able to take next, so it is probably going to be Rose they're looking to use the next Exorcism for. And with this kind of pushing line of having the Warlock as well as the DP's Exorcism, they are going to be able to go at least and take a lot of control, get the last tier 2, potentially even pushing the high ground if they can get a pick off first. Obviously, you don't want to push the high ground into a Chronosphere. So it is pretty much picking off the faces well before the high ground push does happen. Otherwise, it is just, they can take some control of the lane and keep FTD.A starved a little bit. But now FTD.A is going to go for the smoke play, trying to find something, as they don't want it to sit back and let Wings determine what they do.
Yeah, I mean, they're grouped up here, but look at this crew. They don't have a whole lot of damage. They do have the Chrono at the ready, but the real damage is coming from the Invoker and the Juggernaut, who aren't really that close by. There is going to be some sort of charge here onto Riki, so they do maintain vision this entire time. Now, Shade, he's got that negative urn. Do they have any vision for him? Let's see if Innocence is able to live through this. There's going to be a time dilation from the Faceless Void. He's looking for more, but Riki, with Tricks of the Trade, goes back in. Secures himself at least a little bit. There is going to be Innocence underneath the Chrono, just abandoning ship. They don't even want to fight the Riki. Instead, Shadow going to be going through. They will commit everything here for the Morphling. Wow, they commit a charge, they commit the Death Ward and the Chrono, or rather the Omni. They do get him down in the end. Now Yin is going to get hookshot in. Eventually the spin will end and there's not much he can do. He's silenced up. He's going to be going back down to the grave. Looks like Void will be able to leap to safety, but it's going to be 3 dead for just the Morphling. You'll take that trade any day to get down the mid, the core, and one of the big supports.
Yeah, that was just, once again, a little bit sloppy, honestly, because they went on the Riki, and the second the Riki got the Tricks of the Trade off, I think that was the time that they had to disengage, because they used the Chronosphere on him, and then at that point, I mean, there's too many fights happening all around the Chronosphere, so they can't just go in and commit for the Riki kill, as the Morphling getting a kill almost in the Witch Doctor, so they had to, switch target, and ended up just using the Chronosphere pretty much only keeping a Riki in place, which doesn't do much.
Oh, charge coming back on through. You got that range creep, man. There is going to be a nice ulti dropped as, everyone's burning here. On the backlands, Faith Beyond may end up going down. Invoker does end up getting the kill there. The burn damage a little bit too much. Now Innocent's going to get cast up. Is there anything they can do? Is Cookie Bear going to be going on through? Charges back into the depth of the action, into an Exorcism. The Tricks of the Trade comes out. Ricky's alive for now. He's getting very low. Cookie Bear may end up dropping down. Does end up dropping down the Morphling in to save the day. The Adaptive Strike goes on through. They do end up dropping the Riki in the end, but Yin might fall. This could be a full wipe. Can they get the one more kill? They take out the Healing Ward, and now Juggernaut's limping back to his base. They do have the Replicate getting shot at by the tier 4s. I think they let Juggernaut off here, but in the end, it's going to be a full lane of racks going the way of Wings. And FTD.A, it's too early for them to come back and contest this.
Yeah, that's a huge lead. Not even having the Roshan taken yet, so that is always something that they can fall back to do afterwards. And now taking a whole lane of frags, Wings is going to be in a very, very dominating position once again in this game. And FTD.A, I mean, they do have their cooldowns ready to go in 10 seconds time with the Omni Slash being ready with the Chronosphere, but at this point I feel they're just a little bit too far behind in terms of net worth, as we are getting relatively close to that 1k net worth, 1k GPM. So it's hurting for sure.
Yeah. According to stats, that 1k GPM is just a little bit too big to come back from. It's like a 99% win rate at that point. Juggernaut finally picks himself up a Battle Fury, so 18-minute first item. This guy's kind of starving in terms of overall net worth. He's just not doing the best. Morphling surpassing him by a decent amount. Now up top, there is going to be that Adaptive Strike going on through. Wants to get the kill with the Shade. There's going to be a Deafening Blast going out. They get the Chrono here, and they end up popping that Linken's, but Morphin Strength, for all he's worth, will end up getting out of here for now. Oh! Looks like the Omni Slash committed, but it won't be able to get any anything, there's going to be the tricks of the trade from the Ricky, going in, buying some serious space. Void, able to leap away with his life, so he won't end up dying, but there's going to be a hook shot. He's got no leap, he's got no life, he's standing there in the Warlock slow. It's going to be real ugly now. Cookie Bear limping away for all he's worth. The negative urn goes through the rocket flare. Clockwork is a vicious killer, and going on through the GG is called out. Wings taking this series 2-0 against FTD.A. What went wrong there? Or what went right for Wings?
It was pretty much just utilizing the ultimates coming on early. I mean, going for those pushes. And FTD.A, even though they had a very amazing early game, they just ended up fighting into the ultimates. I mean, fighting into the Exorcism, fighting into the Golem. And it seems like whenever Wings has these big money ultimates and they're playing around them very well, then it's just making FTD.A crumble. Their ultimates weren't used that effectively. We saw the Chronospheres most of the time either getting like only one person caught, getting maybe one kill, but most of the time it didn't even get that one kill in the Chronosphere. It was just pretty much keeping them in place for a little bit. And if they didn't commit like every single ultimate on one person, they didn't get the kill. So it's just a little bit too difficult for FTD.A to pull off a team fight. And I mean, lacking damage beyond the Invoker getting some Sunstrikes off seemed like it was the issue in the early game, as the Invoker, the only real damage dealer apart from the Omnislash by the looks of it.
Alright, so that's going to conclude this series for now, and that's going to conclude Mad King's time on the DPL tonight. Thank you so much for joining me. Where can everyone find you?
You can all find me at Twitter on MadKingStud. If you enjoyed my casting, you're very welcome to leave me a follow or some feedback there. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. Again, pleasure to have you on as always. The next series up is going to be VG versus eHome, one you want to stick around for. I'm going to be casting that up with Lumi as my co-caster. Very excited for that. So just a couple of moments and we'll be coming at you with another best of two for the Dota 2 Professional League. Stick around.